morning and welcome to NTA News Top Table. As usual, on Wednesdays, we have an hour and a half of news, views, reviews, previews and interviews treated with an extra touch of fine detail. We'll track developing stories and develop new perspectives on unfolding events. Tonight,
the conduct of local government elections in virtually all the states of the Federation has become mere coronation of candidates of the ruling parties.
Ienre berates state independent electoral commissions to stop the coronation of the ruling parties in their states. In Katsina, a solid foundation for mass housing has been laid. The federal government wants more partners in building Nigerian homes. And in the fight against crime, police raids an internet fraud academy in Bedwe. Still on security, the Inspector General of Police hands over minors who spent 19 months in captivity to their family after being rescued by security agents. We have these and our usual packages on the environment, infrastructure development, health, agriculture, and of course, sports. It's a loaded package, but don't take my word for it. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Ienre, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Let's hit the road now as the federal government, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture and the World Bank have pledged to form a formidable partnership on innovative agricultural practices to address food insecurity in Nigeria and the broader sub-Saharan African region. This was the outcome of a high-level meeting between Vice President Kashim Shettima and a delegation of the foreign partners at the presidential villa. Vice President Kashim Shettima said the whole mantra is focused on increasing yield, and the IITA is in an advantage position to assist not just Nigeria, but sub-Saharan Africa in repositioning the agriculture ecosystem through smart agriculture, climate-resilient agriculture, and improved seedlings. The Director General of the IITA said the delegation was in Abuja for a strategic meeting that aims at reviewing IITA's partnership to support the federal government's efforts in addressing food security in Nigeria and across the West African sub-region. The World Bank Practice Manager for Agriculture and Food Global Practice, Abel Lufafa, said the IITA, World Bank and other partners were delighted with the level of interest and quantum of support deployed by the Tinubu administration in revamping agricultural productivity in the country. Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima is urging for the strengthening of regional economic communities to drive integration and trade ties among African nations. The Vice President was at the summit on the state of democracy in Africa, which held in Abuja. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jabrila feeds us.
The state of democracy in Africa is what the Olusegun Obasanjo Presidential Library, Ford Foundation, Trust Africa, and Shehu Musa Yar'Adua Foundation are championing to discuss pathways and challenges to democratic resilience and governance across the continent. Vice President Kashim Shettima, who declared the summit open, was emphatic that Nigeria will continue to defend democratic institutions, seek economic reforms, enhance national security, and inclusive government that addresses the needs of Nigerians and the continent.
This is why we must make the most of the opportunity this conference offers to rigorously interrogate the state of democracy in Africa. This conference must think out ways by which we can roll back the resurgent waves of military autocracy.
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo and other stakeholders advocate for solutions of democracy tailored towards sustainable development to the continent's unique socio-political landscape.
At this point, let us examine issues in our process and practice of democracy in Africa that have become that have been fairly destabilizing, divisive, non-inclusive, leading to impunity, dictatorial tendencies, and disregard of concern and interests of majority of the people.
People who are holding leaders and institutions accountable and demanding that they model transparency and build civic trust.
Support for democracy when it comes to specific forms of it, particularly when it comes to opposition to military rule, there has definitely been a decline in levels of rejection.
In the current global disruptive landscape posed by technological innovations and developments, climate crisis and energy transition, Africa must urgently confront its governance and institutional challenges to negotiate its place in the emerging new world order.
At the end of the summit, Trust Africa and other partners are looking at securing the conditions for democracy and equitable development across Africa through rules to strengthen democracy, foster sustainable development, and harnessing African philanthropic support for democratization. In Abuja, Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu will on Thursday, May 23, depart Abuja for N'Djamena, the Republic of Chad, to attend the inauguration of President Mohamed Deby. The inauguration of President Deby follows his declaration as the winner of the country's presidential election earlier this month and subsequent affirmation by the Constitutional Court of Chad. President Tinubu will be accompanied on the trip by senior government officials and will return after the ceremony. In other news, in an effort to strengthen trade between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin, Segbana border in Benin Republic has been opened for international business. Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, disclosed this after a meeting with Benin's Minister of Finance and Economy. Correspondent Usman Abdullahi Shehu reports.
Nigeria and Benin Republic share a common official point of entry and exit at Lolo border in Kebbi State, which was previously locked down due to security concerns, severely impacting economic activity. The nearby Abia market, a hub for traders of agricultural produce and other commodities from both countries, was particularly affected. However, thanks to the effort of President Bola Tinubu's administration, Nigeria and Benin Republic are now working to enhance the free flow of trade, commerce and social interaction.
Further progress has been made here today because the border between Nigeria and the Republic of Benin in Segbana is open, trade is to commence, improvements to infrastructure are to be carried out.
You know, for us, we are one nation, we have to work together, and together we can help our population to live out of poverty. This is the vision of our leaders, and this is what we are trying to implement together.
Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashir Adewale Adeniyi, described the meeting as an effort to advance regional integration.
Some of the challenges are quite obvious in terms of infrastructures, but we have given our commitment that we will work around the clock to ensure that we get back.
The people of northern Nigeria will benefit immensely for this very giant project.
This effort, once completed, is expected to lead the establishment of another official international border crossing between Zamia in Kebbi State and Ungwara Sulewara community in Benin Republic. From Segbena, Benin Republic, Usman Abdullahi Shehu, NTA News.
In other news, activities lined up to mark the 1 year in office of President Bola Tinubu has commenced with a World Press Conference in Abuja. Kenneth Nanim reports that Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, reassures Nigerians of the federal government's commitment towards fulfilling the promises made.
The current administration is riding on an 8-point agenda to redefine governance and stimulate every sector of the economy for national development. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, pointed to various roads and rail projects under the Infrastructural Development Roadmap as part of efforts by government to bring dividends of democracy to the citizens. Programs in healthcare, agriculture and education sectors for human capacity development is another area the SGF says government has made remarkable impact. Social investment programs aimed at job creation and poverty alleviation are other areas the SGF rated high in performance. He urges Nigerians to support the government to build more on the gains already made in various sectors of the economy.
This first year in office witnessed significant strides in various sectors of the economy through prudent fiscal policies and strategic investments. The Nigerian economy has shown resilience and growth. The administration's focus on infrastructure development, job creation, and economic diversification has laid a foundation for sustainable progress and prosperity for all Nigerians.
Mr. President, have directed government to buy CNG buses in order to support the transition to CNG and lower energy competitiveness. Mr. President, have directed a reduction in government travels. Some may mock that, but these are profound measures that goes to the mindset of the leadership that we have.
The program granted opportunity for members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm to ask questions or seek clarification on some of the issues raised. From the Radio House, Abuja, Kenneth Nanim, NTA News.
Similarly, the ministerial briefing is another platform for ministers to give accounts of stewardship of their activities within the past 1 year. Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, encourages Nigerians to use the opportunity to interrogate activities of the 8-point Renewed Hope agenda.
National Press Center is already wearing a new look as the media, particularly the Nigerian Television Authority, is set to broadcast the ministerial press briefings. Tomorrow, Minister of Information and National Orientation preach sanity in the business of information dissemination for national cohesion.
Consistent again with the general principle and the policy of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the anniversary, that the 1-year anniversary holding is going to be one that is low-keyed, and that is why emphasis is going to be placed only on sectoral briefings. There will be no ceremonies heralding the 1 year in office of the President.
He guaranteed press freedom under the administration of President Bola Tinubu.
I want to plead with you to please do your job as much as you should do, but have a deep sense of patriotism, responsibility, and honesty in the discharge of your duties.
The ministerial press briefing is expected to commence on Thursday, 23rd May 2024. In Abuja, Saliu Gwanara, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Presidential Power Initiative is on course to meet the needs of Nigerians. To this end, the Senate wants the federal government to prioritize boosting of power infrastructure in the Northeast region because severe disruptions of power supply due to vandalism is affecting millions there. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that the Senate adopted a motion in relation to this.
Efforts to improve power infrastructure in northeast Nigeria has suffered setbacks for quite some time due to challenge of insecurity, thus affecting socio-economic activities, as the Jos Gombe 330 kV transmission line is constantly vandalized. Senators representing the 6 states of the region jointly sponsored a motion urging authorities to fast-track construction of an alternative transmission line for stability.
Borders on the extreme hardship being experienced by all the states of the Northeast, including parts of Plateau State.
Some parts of the Northeast had no light in the last 2 years. Government institutions such as airports, schools, hospitals were being run on generators.
We thank the federal government of Nigeria that we have the Northeast Development Commission. But the Northeast Development Commission alone cannot handle the development challenges in the Northeast today?
Create maybe task force or something to protect those assets from those people that vandalize and destabilize the power.
The TCN should immediately rise to the occasion, and the Federal Ministry of Power should ensure that the power is restored to the northeastern part of this country to aid the security of lives and properties, which of course remain the primary focus of government.
The recent gas explosion in Bayelsa State is now a subject of investigation for the lawmakers as they adopted a motion on the incident.
This inferno resulted in the pumping of huge volumes of poisonous gaseous substances into the atmosphere, resulting in massive pollution of the environment.
Immediately investigate and ascertain the cause and magnitude.
Nigeria is set to finalize a legal framework against doping in sports as Senate passes for second reading the National Anti-Doping Bill.
The bill, in a nutshell, seeks to domesticate the UNESCO Convention Against Doping in Sports to, among other things, establish the National Anti-Doping Center for the purpose of combating doping in sports in compliance with the World Anti-Doping Code and UNESCO Convention.
President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, brought to the notice of lawmakers the transmission by President Tinubu the 2024 budget proposal of the Niger Delta Development Commission for consideration and approval. Meanwhile, Senate is scaling up engagements with Nigerians for transparency and to foster understanding as it launches the magazine of the 10th Senate.
It is a platform that will bridge the gap between the Senate and the people it serves.
This will give us a veritable platform to ensure that Nigeria understands us more.
The magazine will be a quarterly publication. From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And still in the National Assembly's teaching time, they say, saves 9. Believing this adage, lawmakers in the Green Chamber are expressing concern over what they call slow motion in compliance with resolutions passed on the floor of the House to provide security in parts of the country ravaged by banditry. To this end, the clerk of the House of Representatives has been mandated to forward all security resolutions to the House to the Office of the National Security Advisor and the House Committee on Legislative Compliance for action. National Assembly correspondent Ienre reports on deliberations at Wednesday's plenary.
Sequel to a motion by Minority Leader Kingsley Chinda and 28 other lawmakers, the House notes that the spate of insecurity in some parts of the country is instigating food inflation and high cost of living, hence the need for proactive steps by security agencies.
Unless the House of Representatives matches its resolutions with actions, the faith that the citizens have in the House will win.
The House mandates its committees on treaties, protocols and agreements, as well as legislative compliance, to investigate the implications of external loans, especially with Chinese entities.
To prevent another repeat of the P&ID scandal and to prevent a situation where Nigeria's sovereign asset will be threatened both home and abroad.
The bill for FCT's statutory supplementary budget of 98,500 million naira for capital projects passed second reading alongside other establishment bills.
The establishment of Federal College of Education Special Duku will play a complementary role in the existing college in Oyo State and will serve not only the people of Duku, Gombe State, or the Northeast, but the entire nation.
I therefore employ my honorable colleagues to support the second reading of the bill, which seeks to establish the Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Amasoma, Bayelsa State.
Urge the Federal Ministry of Environment and other relevant agencies to take a holistic approach to containing gully erosion menace in these three communities of Yobe State.
The bill, which seeks to establish the Federal College of Nursing and Midwifery, Amojinike, Enugu State.
For the second reading of the bill, which seeks to establish the Federal University of Agriculture in Cross River State.
A resolution to allow pregnant women access to free medical treatment from public health institutions during and after delivery was also passed by the House.
That the government allocate an annual budget to public healthcare institutions to fund healthcare services delivery to the citizens, particularly pregnant women.
21 bills passed first reading at Wednesday's plenary, including the Nigerian Parliamentary Services Trust Fund Establishment Bill 2024. From the National Assembly, Ienre, NTA News.
Many thanks, Mitari. Away from the National Assembly now, contractors handling housing projects across the country have been charged to ensure quality and speed up work. The Minister of Housing, Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, gave the charge while inspecting the construction site at Katsina in Abuja. Francis Udojo has the details.
Katsina site, comprising 3,112 housing units of Renewed Hope cities and estates, is the pilot stage inaugurated in February by President Bola Tinubu for the construction of 100,000 housing units projects across the Federation. The visit of the Minister of Housing in the company of the Minister of Finance is to assess the level of work done and ensure the delivery of project is of standard and within specified time frame. His gestures suggest satisfaction with the progress of the job done.
Within the next 60 days, we are coming here. We want to see roofs all over, so that by then the roads are there and the houses will be there. We are giving them some few weeks, maybe 2-3 weeks, to finish a sample house, so that whoever is subscribing can come and feel how it is, how it looks, so that they can now subscribe with confidence.
Various steps are being made by the monetary authorities in that direction, and also to stabilize the exchange rate and eventually get interest rates down, so that more of this type of investment can be made by Nigerians.
The ministers assured the government's commitment to delivering on its mandate of providing access to quality and affordable houses to Nigerians, while trying to reduce housing deficits, estimated to be 28 million in 2023. Francis Udojo, NTA News.
And in Katsina, residents are to benefit from 250 housing units out of the 3,500 Renewed Hope Housing Phase 1 projects of the federal government meant for 13 states. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Ahmed Dangiwa, disclosed this at the groundbreaking ceremony in Katsina. Suleiman Kodogi reports.
Is one of the basic and fundamental human needs that provides protection and safety against the elements, ensuring the well-being of individuals and communities. This informed the decision of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu-led administration as part of its Renewed Hope initiative to come up with 3,500 housing units in 13 states of the Federation as part of Phase 1 of the housing program. The housing project in Katsina State, aside its developmental drive, is equally expected to provide 3,000 skilled and unskilled workers with means of livelihood.
The housing sector is a vital component of our nation's infrastructure, serving as a key driver to economic growth and social development. The provision of affordable housing is a top priority for the Nigerian government.
I want to ask the developers of this project to ensure that they build according to specifications and delivers a quality job. A standard work will not be tolerated. We also want to have this work to finish within the next 3 months.
The 250 housing units of the Renew Up in Katsina State comprise of 51 bedroom, 152 bedroom, and 53 bedroom semi-detached bungalows. In Katsina, Suleiman Kodogi, NTA News.
In other news, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, says it is time for women in politics to initiate more positive ways for gainful economic engagements and establish businesses that will empower them beyond the limits of politics. The First Lady, represented by the wife of the Vice President, Nana Kashim Shettima, said this during the symbolic presentation of fabrics in commercial quantity to women. Political correspondent Abubakar Akwanga reports.
Politics has always been seen by some persons in this circle as a platform for self-empowerment, a narrative that has made most businesses to crash. This is now reawakening the consciousness of most women, with the chief pilot of the Renewed Hope Initiative and the First Lady of Nigeria taking the bull by the horn to reinvent the wheel of economic diversity. And to match words with actions, the First Lady flagged off presentation of fabrics in commercial quantities to women in politics at the National Secretariat of the Governing All Progressives Congress to empower and make them positive contributors to national wealth.
The Renewed Hope Initiative program is a testament to the First Lady's steadfast belief in empowering women and fostering inclusive economic growth.
Without any flattering her, within the 1 year, I believe she has crossed the 36th state of the Federation through her paid project. She is passionate and she's someone who is truly eager to see things change in this country and for better.
First Lady and the Second Lady, they have done their own. What remains is for you to be honest. It's for you to be transparent. It's for you to be committed. It's for you to be nationalistic.
The symbolic flag-off was done under the watch of the National Working Committee of the party and 36 state women leaders of the APC, with a particular drive to reach out to more women across the country. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has approved the appointment of Engineer Chukwuemeka Woke as the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSDRA. Engineer Woke is an environmental specialist, politician, and holds a bachelor's degree in chemical and petrochemical engineering. The President also approved the appointment of Dr. Adedeji Ashiru as the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Osun River Basin Development Authority. Dr. Ashiru holds a doctorate degree in engineering from the Commonwealth University, UK, and has led a consortium of blue-chip companies. Also approved by the President is the appointment of Assistant Corps Marshal Mohammed Shehu as the Corps Marshal and Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Road Safety Commission, FRSC. The appointment is for an initial period of 4 years with effect from 20th May 2024 in accordance with the relevant provisions of the Act establishing the Commission. Now, thank you for staying. Mama's Payment Service Bank, a fintech arm of NTA Nigeria, has again reiterated its commitment towards empowering small and medium enterprises through technologically driven initiatives aimed at expanding the scope of businesses. Lynn Leneke reports that the event also featured the unveiling of the latest ambassador of Mama Payment Service Bank.
Unveiling of the latest and existing ambassadors heralded the commencement of the second anniversary of Momo Payment Service Bank for expediting small, medium-scale growth in Nigeria.
It's a promising partnership, and I'm excited. That's how I feel about the collaboration. I'm excited and I'm auspicious on what's to come.
So it becomes exciting for me because it's going to further connect me with my fan base.
The Chief Executive Officer, Momo PSP, identified the growth of SMEs as critical to boosting the country's gross domestic product, creating and designing solutions that directly address the needs of its customers across the country.
We believe that when we strengthen them, when we support them, when we improve the efficiency of what they do, by giving them access to a much bigger market, online, we give them access to quality support in terms of financial support for their business, then they'll be able to do well, and then the people who depend on them get better.
The conference, which was interactive, had stakeholders in attendance examine strategies that can enhance productivity and promote social cohesion.
When we say truly more than cash, it's really more than cash in the fact that with just your phone, it doesn't have to be a smartphone. You can make payments, you can grow your business, no matter what your startup, no matter what the equipment you have.
Locally produced items were on display. Launched in 2022, Momo Pay Service Bank has continued to offer support and solutions through providing youth accessible financial services to Nigerians. In Lagos, Lane Lenake, NTA News.
Still looking at business, the Bank of Industry has recorded an impressive financial performance in the year 2023 by creating more than 2 million jobs and growing profit to the tune of 153 billion naira. Benny Adams reports that the bank is poised to doing more in the year 2024 as a dividend was shared to shareholders during the bank's 2023 annual general meeting in Abuja.
It is that time of the year for profit sharing for investors in the Bank of Industry. The smiles on these faces is evident to the fact that the bank is doing well. Chairman of the bank, Malam Mohammed Bala, declared profit before tax grew by 117.69%, increasing from 70.7 billion naira to 153.81 billion naira, the highest in the bank's history. The bank significantly increased its disbursement to 75,809 beneficiaries drawn from large, medium, small and macro enterprises amounting to 496.717 billion naira, in addition to creating 2,198,953 direct and indirect jobs across the country, and promised to continue in the same trajectory.
The Bank of Industry will continue to implement its medium-term corporate strategy for 2022-2024 on effectively sustaining the trajectory of supporting Nigerian industrial growth. However, the bank's strategy will remain flexible to seamlessly integrate with new development as they arise in the economy in the year 2024.
We intend to increase our offerings to our customers, both in terms of products that we're going to deliver to them. We are getting involved in a number of new programs that will also benefit the entire economy and the private sector. We intend to increase the amount of lending to the MSME sector. We are focused on thematic areas: youth and skills development, climate and sustainability, gender, digital economy, infrastructure development.
The bank's total assets grew by 64.6% from 2.37 trillion to 3.91 trillion naira. Management say as the bank looks to the future, it remains dedicated to leveraging its financial strength to supporting the industrialization and economic transformation of Nigeria. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the pilot scheme for the Agricultural Transformation Support Program, an initiative of Abo Marks and African Development Bank, has been launched with selected youths from 4 geopolitical zones participating in the incubation program in Abuja. Kelvin Evwonaye has all the details.
Apart from Abuja, youths in Enugu and Kano will take their turn subsequently with training in value chain of rice, cassava and sorghum at the IITA centers in those states. The incubation program is aimed at raising a sizable number of youths with specialties in agribusiness. During the 2 weeks training, the participants will be exposed to different modules in farm practices and marketing, aimed at equipping them with the tools they need to become successful in agro-business.
Very conscious of the fact that the popular song now is food security under the Renewed Hope agenda, and we're catching the beneficiaries young, catching them young to be able to contribute effectively to food security. For example, after they are done here 2 weeks, they will have been exposed to more practicability of food system delivery.
Mentorship is an important aspect of this program because the expectations of the initiators is that hands-on training and proper guidance will help develop the values of patience and networking, which are vital elements in agribusiness.
Increasing opportunity for income generation and setting up businesses, thereby reducing the unemployment problem.
You don't do business with ideas, you do business with people. So one of the things I will be relating to them at the course of the training program is on how to relate to the customer, both their internal customer and their external customer.
Throughout the period of the incubation program, officials of IITA will be on hand to provide technical support in all aspects of the training, especially in the application of new species and seedlings for optimal yields. In Abuja, Kelvin Ewunwaye, NTA News.
Let's take a look at education now, as the end to dichotomy between higher national diploma, HND, and university degree, as well as discrimination against HND in Nigerian public service, is in sight, as the National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, is seeking to abolish HND to be replaced with BSc of Tech Honors in Polytechnics. This is the resolution at a one-day dialogue on the future of higher national diploma, HND, in Nigeria, organized by NBTE. The event received the blessing of the Minister of State Education and attended by all rectors of Nigerian polytechnics, their unions, and other affected bodies.
The guiding principle is that where the benefit outweighs the risk of what they want to do, the ministry will support them to do that. But where there is more risk than benefit to Nigerians, the advice of the ministry is for them to wait for another time.
Nigerian polytechnics would continue to offer national diploma. But after national diploma, students will be admitted to read Bachelor of Technology Honors. Ours will be a skills-based degree. HND will not be a dead end. And from there you can go for Masters and PhD. And I hope we shall get support from the National Assembly and other stakeholders so that this can be properly legislated.
Papers were presented on how polytechnics of different nations converted to degree awarding institutions that assisted in transforming the country's technological base. Now, let's focus on the physically challenged. Millions of people with disabilities face discrimination and exclusion daily. But the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities and the Leprosy Mission Nigeria are breaking barriers and paving the way for a more inclusive society. Gufan Shaji reports.
James Lalu, the Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities, is a champion for change. As a deaf person himself, he understands the struggles of living in a world not designed for him.
I am a prominent beneficiary of sign language. Therefore, production of this version into sign language is one of the very important areas to enable us to bring the content of this, the provision of this law to the deaf community.
This initiative is a game changer. For the first time, people with disabilities in rural communities will have access to information about their rights and protections under the law.
It is a testament to our commitment to ensuring that every Nigerian, regardless of their abilities, has access to justice, equality, and dignity.
Not everybody that can read and write, so they decided that it to also do the audio version of the 3 different languages. So now we also produce the audio version of Igbo, Hausa, and the Yoruba.
And by translating and simplifying the Disability Act, we are breaking down barriers and ensuring that everyone, regardless of their language or sensory limitation, can understand and assess their rights.
And with this initiative, Nigeria is one step closer to a more inclusive future. In Abuja, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi, NTA News.
Of course, Gufan Shaji Ugwanyi on that one. But let's see this as the Nigerian military strengthening synergies to build an efficient and effective system for women within the military community to thrive regardless of background, ethnicity, or social class. This was disclosed at a workshop on gender-responsive security operations and community dialogue project in Nigeria by the National Defense College. To dismantle barriers and ensure equal opportunities for women within the military formations, the UN Women and the Nigerian military are partnering to promote gender mainstreaming equal representation in critical areas, as well as networking within security institutions.
Effective strategy that will continue to shape gender-responsive policies within the security institutions.
Denying them the opportunity to contribute to governance is having direct bearing, negative impact on both men and women. It's not just women. So if you fail to bring them to the space, then you are actually failing to be strategic in terms of dealing with development issues.
Officers' wives were always at the home front, taking care of the responsibilities our husbands leave behind while they are at work or while they are securing the integrity of our dear nation, Nigeria.
Speakers insist that laws backing the protection of women's rights must not be compromised for them to function optimally and achieve their goals as they contribute to protecting the territorial integrity of the nation. Freedom at last for 2 minors who were kidnapped 19 months ago in Zamfara State. Very pathetic story indeed. Well, the Inspector General of Police at a briefing and handing over of the minors to their father at the force headquarters revealed that the girls were successfully rescued by a combined effort of officers and men of the force and the Nigerian Air Force. Meanwhile, their kidnappers are now in police custody. Francis Fom has the details.
In November 2022, Jangebe village in Talata Mafara local government area of Zamfara State was shattered by an act of violence that would forever negatively change the lives of a family. Armed bandits riding on about 60 motorcycles invaded the residence of a member of the Zamfara State House of Assembly in a brutal display of terror. They abducted his wife and their 4 young children. The abductees were taken to an unknown forest. Throughout their captivity, these children were sustained on meager rations of maize and salt, drinking water from a nearby stream. While in captivity, their mother gave birth under extremely harsh conditions, but tragically, the newborn did not survive. Despite the unbearable circumstances, the mother's strength and resolve remained unbroken. One night, during the rainy season of 2023, she managed to unchain herself and escape with 2 of her children. However, 2 of her daughters, who recently got freedom, were left in the grip of their captors. However, the Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun, at a briefing on the successful rescue operation, says it is a direct result of strategic initiatives stemming from advanced intelligence by the Force Intelligence Department and operational tactics from the anti-kidnapping squad of Katsina State Police Command, as well as tactical support from the Nigerian Air Force 215 FOB, Funtua, that led to the locations and the safe rescue of these minors.
We are resolute in our quest to dismantle criminal networks and ensure that justice is served. To the families affected by these crimes, we express our deepest sympathies and assurances that your pain is our pain. Your resilience in the face of such adversity inspires us to intensify our efforts. We stand with you, and we will continue to fight tirelessly to ensure that no child, no mother, no father, no family has to endure such horrors again.
IGP Egbetokun assures that the force, in collaboration with other law enforcement and security agencies, will not relent in its effort to provide a safe and secure environment for all. Francis from NTA News.
Many thanks, Francis. Those girls sure need counseling, of course, some form of medical attention. Now, this is another sad story. Call it child abuse, child maltreatment, or child aberration. Whatever name you call it, it's man's inhumanity to man. A very pathetic story, too, of a 13-year-old boy who left his ancestral home of Jega in Kebbi State to Saminaka in Ienre local government area of Kaduna State in search of Quranic knowledge, but ended up in hospital nursing injuries on account of sexual molestation by his randy neighbor, which, of course, shattered the dream of the young boy of becoming an Islamic scholar. Let's join Mohammed Umar Ajinge for update.
This 14-year-old boy, currently on admission, is psychologically and emotionally traumatized while medical doctors keep vigil battling to save his life. The young boy, who is a victim of sexual molestation, was allegedly lured by his co-tenant, who took advantage of his naivety. As a consequence of these inhuman acts, the boy had a fracture, dislocation, and septic arthritis. Worried by this, the federal government waded into the matter, which led to the visit of Executive Secretary, National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children, Muhammad Sani Idris, to the police headquarters in Kaduna, where he had a closed-door meeting with the Commissioner of Police on the matter.
I will make sure that I follow this case to its logical conclusion, and that we will not allow people who commit heinous atrocities like this to go, score free.
He also visited Arewa House Kaduna, where he interfaces with the Director General on the need to partner towards reviving the Almajiri schools. The Executive Secretary, who was earlier at the Dala Orthopedic Hospital to sympathize with the victim, promised to ensure justice is served, while assuring stringent measures is taken to protect vulnerable children under this category.
We are going to make sure that each child, live a life of dignity. We are going to make sure that no beggar again on the Nigerian streets. We are going to ensure that each child is given the type of life every child deserves to have in Nigeria.
The dream of this innocent child who suffers from this harrowing experience is in jeopardy each time he remembers his encounter with his rapist. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Marajingi, NTA News.
The law should take its course. Now, let's move to Benue State. The Benue State Police Command has raided an internet fraudster academy in Makurdi with suspects arrested. State Commissioner of Police Hassan Yabanet, who disclosed this in a news briefing, assured residents of the command's resolve to fight crime and criminality to a standstill in the state. Blessing Omeche Ebute has details.
The Benue State Police Command has in the last few weeks carried out raids on criminal elements causing mayhem in the state. New Commissioner of Police Hassan Yabanet, while briefing journalists, disclosed that men of the command smashed and arrested a gang of internet fraudsters operating a fraud academy in Makurdi after a shootout.
7 laptops, 1 Apple Note, 1 Canon printer, 15 notes of Ghana cedis, 2 international passports, and assorted clothes among the items. Suspect confessed to the crime.
Also paraded were suspected armed robbers terrorizing passengers along the Makurdi-Naka road, who were arrested by men of the command. Some armed cultists who on the 16th of May 2024 clashed at the North Bank Market were also among those paraded. CP Yabanet warned landlords and hoteliers to be mindful of the kind of people they accommodate, as they are also at risk of becoming victims and can be prosecuted for criminal conspiracy. In Makurdi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
Now let's head to Kebbi. Zuru in Kebbi, south of Kebbi State, is a place one can consider for an adventure, if not for the deplorable condition of the road leading to the town. The federal government is aware of the special endowment Zuru is blessed with and awarded the reconstruction of the road. Unfortunately, the contractor has abandoned the project, making it difficult for the state government to wade in. That report is after the break. Stay with us. The Federal Road Safety Corps is conducting an intensive capacity building program for its personnel. This is said to be part of efforts towards enhancing staff proficiency in public speaking and strategic communication. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
When one hears about the Federal Road Safety Corps, what comes to mind is the road management being its primary responsibility. The task goes beyond this. It requires proficient and efficient communication between the Corps and the public. Consequently, this mastery class training for the FRSC officials on public speaking and strategic communication has become imperative.
There are various interpretations when it comes to communication. It's not just about verbal communication. It could be oral, it could be written, it could be non-verbal cues.
Effective communication is not just about expressing ourselves. It's also about listening actively, understanding different perspectives, and building strong connections with those around us.
The officers were exposed to various aspects of media relations, strategic communication planning, digital communication and social media management, crisis communication, interpersonal communication including verbal and non-verbal cues, active listening, empathy and assertiveness. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
That report I told you about Zuru Road is ready, and Abdul Mohammed Bawa will feed us.
Major roads leading to Zuru in Kebbi South of Kebbi State are that of Birnin Yawuri, Koko and Aiki Takwas, all in deplorable condition. The 87-kilometer Koko Mahuta Zuru Road, for example, has been a nightmare to travelers for many years. A journey of about 3 hours along the route now takes about 8 hours. This situation has taken a toll on the socio-economic and farming activities in the area, especially agriculture that the people are well known for. NTA News took a ride on the route to get first-hand information.
People are suffering, both the passengers and the drivers are suffering on this road.
I lost my new car on this road as a result of how bad it is.
The state government is also worried about the abandoned road project, as Governor Nasir Idris is making effort to get approval for the state to complete the road, but not without the initial contractor revoked.
I vow that if I cannot do anything for people in this four local government, God willing, I will construct this road from Koko to Tabai.
He has requested the House of Assembly to appropriate money so that he can kickstart if he has succeeded in getting the revocation letter from the federal government.
Travelers plying the route are also in agreement for the federal government to revoke the contract and re-award it to another contractor that can handle the project. This is the second time the road is being reconstructed in 16 years.
The Koko Zuru road, when completed, it will ease the transportation of farm produce from Zuru axis to the state capital, and it will also ease the movement of people from the state capital to the Federal University of Agriculture in Kebbi State, which is situated in Zuru. From Zuru in Kebbi State, Abdul Mohammed Bawa, NTA News.
Many thanks, Abdul for the update. Now looking at other stories, efforts towards ensuring Nigerians have access to quality employment opportunities within and outside Nigeria is beginning to yield results. This is as the federal government, through the National Talent Export Program, has reached an agreement with UTEL Limited to connect Nigerians to foreign jobs in Kuwait, Gulf Cooperation Council and Scandinavian countries, among others. Benny Adams has the details.
The National Talent Export Program Complex is a statement of commitment where the federal government is walking the talk of exporting more than 1 million jobs to the outside world. This is leveraging the abundant human resource base that Nigeria has in the continent. Here we are witnessing the signing of Memorandum of Understanding between Nigeria and 5 different countries to include Kuwait, Oman, Norway, Romania, among others.
UTEL is a Nigerian subsidiary of a leading provider of experts in Kuwait who are offering openings for 250 foreign jobs for Nigerians. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Doris Anite, says the move offers opportunities ranging from direct employment, immigration of talent, and utilization of the business process outsourcing model for gainful and meaningful employment for those based in Nigeria. She says government is committed to exporting talent in a mutually beneficial and reputable way, thereby putting an end to illegal migration.
So we will continue to train them for those who are coming over in ethics and professionalism and everything that is required for them to understand the culture of the place, to acculturate themselves properly, and to integrate.
In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Trees play a pivotal role in human existence as the benefits are far-reaching, not just as food or energy sources, but also in conserving the environment when the existence of trees become threatened. It becomes a source of concern that requires collective efforts to save them. In this report, Tina Turo in Maiduguri draws attention to a very important tree threatened by external factors and crying for help.
Known for its high medicinal properties and efficacy in treating and managing diseases, the neem tree is considered one of the most valuable trees in the northeastern region.
The leaf is used for the treatment of typhoid and malaria, in addition to other leaves like that of mango and lime.
The neem tree is prevalent in Borno State, dotting the vegetative landscape of Maiduguri, the state capital, aesthetically beautifying the city. This valuable tree has the potential to change the economic fortunes of Nigeria if properly harnessed.
We've worked on the extracts of neem, the water-soluble extract, the oil extract from neem, for treatment of wood against termites.
This species of trees, however, is under threat following infestation of a parasite, the mistletoe, also called kauchi in Hausa.
This used to be a vibrant and flourishing neem tree, having lost its glory due to the devastating impact of the parasites. If left unchecked, will result in more of such pathetic sights among ornamental trees.
Most of the old trees, because they serve as a nesting place for some birds, which are also the agent of dispersal of the seeds of this parasite.
In recognition of its adaptive and resilient nature, as well as its ability to help fight deforestation, the Borno State government has taken proactive steps towards saving existing trees and planting new ones.
Right now we are raising 10 million seedlings in the state. And actually, out of the 10 million seedlings, the directive we have is 5 million seedlings will be named because it is the most adaptable to this climate.
Experts, however, have a different view to this.
To us, as a biologist, as an ecologist, there is nothing wrong with the parasitic plants on the neem trees, even though they are parasites, because they derive their nutrients from these neem trees, and they also, at a point, kill the neem tree. But most of them die of the parasite because of old age.
One man's meat is said to be another man's poison. So it is with the parasite, though a threat to the neem tree, but a delicacy for animals, as ruminants in the Maiduguri Zoo enjoy it as a staple food. In Maiduguri, Tina Turo, NTA News.
Beautiful package there, Tina. Many thanks. Now, INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu has described the conduct of local elections in the 36 states as mere coronation of candidates of ruling political parties in the state. He made the observation at a meeting with the Forum of State Independent Electoral Commissions in Abuja. Mie Ogidi reports.
Being at the top makes one to be a topic of discussion. A fact INEC and state electoral bodies face from the public. The topic here is that local government elections are only won by the ruling parties at the state. INEC chairman was frontal on this while meeting with the Forum of State Independent Commissions but gives INEC pass mark on the conduct of area council elections in the FCT.
There are no caretaker committees as elections are held regularly. There is plurality in electoral outcomes as no single party has ever won all the elections in all the constituencies in the area councils.
And for the state electoral bodies, not a pleasant one, the INEC chairman re-emphasized.
Unfortunately, the conduct of local government elections in virtually all the states of the Federation has become mere coronation of candidates of the ruling parties. It is time to stop the coronation and conduct proper elections. State governors should allow the state independent electoral commissions to have greater capacity for independent action. Some state independent electoral commissions are only constituted on the eve of elections and dissolved thereafter.
It is a fact, but the state electoral bodies, however, pushing to make a difference.
We strongly believe that our financial independence is not only achievable, but a sine qua non for various local government elections in Nigeria.
Then what is the solution if local government elections must be free and fair? Is the proposal in some quotas for INEC to conduct the local government polls the solution? It is a constitutional issue and only the National Assembly can take a position on this. Mie Ogede, NTA News.
Away from electoral matters now, Nollywood has been described as the mirror of the Nigerian society, telling the Nigerian story beyond its shores. However, scholars at a conference hosted by the University of Abuja say there is more enormous potential to be harnessed. Zenret Dingmun tells us more.
Cutting across generations in the industry, like minds share experiences on the evolution of filmmaking in Nigeria. Exploring technological advancements without losing the value of the Nigerian culture of storytelling, they say, requires Nigerians taking charge, giving the right perspectives to the African story.
The original thing since independence is that the Europeans create the knowledge for us and then they bring it to us. But for the very first time in the history of scholarship in this country, we created the knowledge and we gave it back to them. So whatever they say will be complementary to what we do, and we can always contest that. I write from the inside. And the reason is to teach people who don't know the culture about our culture.
Go all over the world, people are watching Nollywood. People are beginning to know Nigeria through Nollywood. Is it our music? Is it our film? Is it our cultural dances? Is it our language? The whole thing is taking the world by surprise.
With the theme, Decolonizing African Cinema in the Age of Media Streaming, the conference was organized in honor of an industry pioneer, Professor Onokome Okome. In Abuja, Zenra Dimon, NTA News.
Now, the Southern Traditional Council of Nigeria says the institution will continue to render useful advisories that will assist in strengthening bridges of peace and improve the economic well-being of Nigerians. This came to the fore when the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, led a high-powered delegation to the Progressive Governors Forum. Correspondent Abubakar Kwanga reports.
It was a lengthy hour of deliberation held behind closed doors, after which the Southern Council of Chiefs addresses the media on a wide range of issues bordering on security, economy, politics, infrastructure, and unity of the region and the country at large. The Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Onithon Ogunwusi, led other southern monarchs on the current state of affairs in the region and Nigeria and urged citizens to keep faith with the nation for peace, social justice, and economic transformation.
What we believe is we should take Nigeria beyond any political difference, beyond any religious difference, beyond any cultural diversity. Our unity is much paramount to us.
Chairman Progressive Governors Forum and leader of the Southeast Governors Forum, Hope Uzodinma, appreciates the royal fathers, describing their roles as critical in nation building and urged them to sustain support and be united against saboteurs of government policies.
I commend you, I believe, in the unity of the country. Because if the country is not united, there will be no country. And there's no how there will be peace and stability in Nigeria if the traditional rulers are not part and parcel of the process.
Some of the traditional leaders commended the initiative.
We are the 6th largest producer of oil in the world, 4th largest producer of gas. And I believe we will come together with the human capital that is invested in this country. Heaven is the beginning, sky is not the limit.
And by God's grace, the southern traditional rulers will stand up to the job. We'll do what we've always done, which is to stand for our people and to talk on behalf of our people. But now we're going to do it more collectively.
The Southern Council of Chiefs says until the traditional institution is given its place of pride, government at the grassroots will continue to experience multifaceted challenges, hence the need to assign them constitutional responsibilities. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Another break. With power supply still a challenge in most developing countries like Nigeria, Gombe State is intensifying the use of renewable sources of energy to augment the supply from the national grid. In this report, Emmanuel Akila looks at this paradigm shift as a project for the expansion, rehabilitation and upgrade of water supply in the state is just tested and ready to be commissioned.
Shift to the use of renewable energy in large scale in Gombe State began when the state government replaced all street lights with solar-powered lamps. With success in that project, hospitals and schools are now solar-powered. This also goes with the water expansion project, which is awaiting inauguration after successful testing of the completed project.
The contractor called me and told me that he has generated enough water at the Wode Julie substation, and he has pumped water up to NTA booster station and that one of Tumfrey.
So far, so good. We have been given 24 months to deliver this project, but God so kind, we are on the 19th month and we have started test running.
There are 3 booster stations, including the one sited in the neighborhood of NTA Gombe.
With power still a challenge to sustainable water provision, the government has decided to install these solar panels to complement the power from the national grid, and that is to the delight of those who will benefit from the water expansion program of the government.
Water, they say, is life, and so coming up with the idea of establishing a booster station within the vicinity of NTA Gombe to provide water to the communities around, I think is a very big development.
We used to buy one truck of water tanker, about 50,000. But today I went out, my wife called me, I said, what is happening? She said, there is water flowing from the tap.
The water project is expected to end the decades of water scarcity in the benefiting communities. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
Let's have a look at sports quickly now, as Ademola Lookman made history tonight when his sensational hat-trick gave Atalanta their first ever European honor. The UEFA Europa League, he is the first player to fire a treble in the final of this competition. In the process, the 26-year-old Super Eagles striker ended the 51-game unbeaten run of Bayern Leverkusen. It was third time lucky for the Super Eagles striker, who earlier this year lost 2 finals, the 2023 AFCON and the Coppa Italia. He was named man of the match. Lookman struck first blood in the 12th minute with a well-taken goal. He then doubled his team's advantage on the 26th minute, and in the second half, Leverkusen brought on both Victor Boniface and Nathan Taylor. But there was too little, too late, as the Bundesliga champions were simply dominated by the Italians. Congratulations to Ademola and his team there, of course. Nigerians are also celebrating. So that's News Extra tonight. Many thanks for watching. Have a good night.
Let's live together. Let's stop fighting each other. Let us live as one. It doesn't matter where you come from, your tribe or religion, man, woman or child. It doesn't matter who you are. Put Nigeria first. No matter where you come from, no matter your religion, we are one. Let's live together.